1990, the neon-soaked twilight between the 80s and the grungy 90s proper. Saturday morning cartoons were still a sacred ritual, and TV networks were throwing absolutely everything on the air to see what stuck. Some shows became classics, and then there were these. This is a look back at 10 forgotten, short-lived, or just plain weird cartoons from 1990. The shows that tried, fizzled out fast, and left behind nothing but a few dusty VHS tapes and vague memories. Let's dive into the cartoon graveyard of 1990. Number 10, Gravedale High.
Please take a seat, yeah, we're dying to meet ya. Go with the spirit and chillin' and cheering. Gravedale.
In theory, Gravedale High should have worked. A cartoon about a high school for teenage monsters, with one of the most badass school buses of all time, and Rick Moranis voicing the one human teacher. That's an easy win, right? Well, unfortunately, Gravedale High only lasted 13 episodes before NBC buried it. Produced by Hanna-Barbera, the show leaned heavily into monster puns and high school cliches.
What is this burn victim doing wandering the halls? Look at these bandages. Oh, I'll bet they haven't been changed in years.
2,000 years!
While the animation was decent and the character designs memorable, it never really found its voice.
I bet you've never seen an invisible Michael Jackson juggle. I love you. I love you all.
We love you too!
Thank you for that warm applause. You're beautiful.
Today, you can look at it like a Hotel Transylvania in high school. The characters felt like knockoffs of better cartoons, and Moranis, while great, sounded like he was phoning it in from his closet.
And if you can't handle that, Mr. Stoker, there's the window.
Critics weren't impressed, kids were mostly confused, and even in syndication, it didn't make much noise. Today, it has a small cult following, mostly from people who caught it once and spent years wondering if it was real, or just something they dreamt up after too much Count Chocula. Number 9, Fox's Peter Pan and the Pirates. If you were watching Fox Kids in 1990, there's a decent chance you stumbled onto this one, and then probably forgot it existed. Peter Pan and the Pirates was a more serious take on the classic tale, trying to turn Neverland into a weekly action-adventure series.
The wretched creatures are herded deeper into our caves, where I've prepared a crystal for Pan, just like this one.
It ran for 65 episodes, which sounds like a success, until you realize Fox burned through those episodes in less than a year. The animation was decent, the tone was weirdly dark for a kid's show, and Peter himself was voiced by a then unknown Jason Marsden from Step by Step, though you'd never know it, since they pitched up his voice to chipmunk levels.
Oh, don't make such a fuss, John. There's no danger in Neverland I can't handle.
The real highlight, of course, was Tim Curry as Captain Hook. He delivered Shakespearean-level menace in a show meant to sell action figures.
Gall and brimstone, Smee. Do you hear what I hear? Oh, I do, Captain.
But it couldn't compete with shows like DuckTales or Tiny Toons, and despite the episode count, it vanished just as quickly as it arrived. These days, it's mostly remembered as that Peter Pan cartoon that wasn't Disney's. Number 8, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Yeah, this was a real thing. In 1990, someone at Fox decided to take a low-budget, cult horror spoof about tomatoes murdering people and turn it into a cartoon for children. Based on the 1978 film and its 1988 sequel, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes somehow lasted 2 seasons, but only 21 episodes aired before the show got canned. The series toned down the humor and leaned hard into slapstick. You had talking tomatoes, a mad scientist villain.
I'm not mad, just angry.
And a tomato-hating teenage hero named Chad. It was weird, it was loud, and it actually had decent animation for the time.
Hello? What? We don't serve to turtles. No sewer deliveries. What?
But it was also incredibly niche. Kids who hadn't seen the R-rated movie were mostly confused. And adults weren't exactly tuning in for cartoon tomatoes with bad puns.
Early morning clouds turn to sunshine, perfect growing weather for ripe succulents.
Ironically, the show did its job too well. It made the Killer Tomatoes brand more family-friendly, which killed off the edgy cult appeal of the original. By 1992, the franchise was back underground, where it probably belonged.
You ungrateful little witch! I made you, and I can break you! And your little dog, too!
Number 7. Piggsburg Pigs. Some cartoons have staying power. Piggsburg Pigs is not one of them. This short-lived series followed a trio of pig brothers, Bo, Portly, and Pighead, who defended their city from the evil Wolf brothers, Huff and Puff.
Fire up the electromagnetic piggy car catcher!
Okie doke!
Yeah, really, that was the whole premise. It was produced by Ruby Spears and aired as part of Fox Kids' fall lineup, but barely made a ripple. Only 13 episodes were produced, and it was gone faster than you could say bacon. The animation was stiff, the jokes were flat, and while it tried to mix Looney Tunes-style slapstick with 90s gross-out humor, it didn't really land either. It felt like someone had pulled random pieces from better cartoons and glued them together with pig puns.
Hey, aren't you supposed to take your clothes off before you use that thing?
Strangely, though, it did get a VHS release in the UK, where it had more staying power than the US. But here, most kids forgot it even aired. There's not much nostalgia around Piggsburg Pigs, mostly just a weird, oh yeah, that existed moment for anyone who caught it during Saturday morning cartoons. Number 6, Heroes on Hot Wheels. If you don't remember Heroes on Hot Wheels, you're not alone. This one practically disappeared on arrival. This short-lived series was basically a glorified toy commercial for Mattel's Hot Wheels line. But instead of leaning into crazy car stunts or racing action, it followed a group of teen do-gooders in a generic sci-fi setting, stopping vague crimes and teaching safety tips, all while driving neon-colored Hot Wheel cars.
A tanker truck.
But tanker trucks aren't allowed in the park.
Neither's what that truck's got in it, if my guess about that smell is right.
That's probably because the cartoon was first created as Michael Valiant, completely unrelated to Hot Wheels and Mattel, but they decided to put their name on it to sell cars. The show only lasted 13 episodes, and even that feels generous. The animation looked cheap, the dialogue was painfully bland, and the pacing felt like it was running in first gear the entire time.
This park is incredible, Hannah. The telescope really lets you bring it up close.
Worse, it somehow managed to make Hot Wheels, one of the most exciting toy brands ever, feel boring. It aired in limited syndication, so even kids who wanted to watch it probably couldn't find it. The biggest legacy of Heroes on Hot Wheels. It helped remind cartoon producers that if you're going to slap a name on a show based around toys, maybe make it cool. Number 5, Midnight Patrol, Adventures in the Dream Zone. With a title like Midnight Patrol Adventures in the Dream Zone, you'd expect something kinda cool, right? Maybe trippy, mysterious, and a little imaginative. Instead, what you got was a muddled, confusing, and oddly British-feeling mess.
I've been waiting all evening to complain about my dinner.
The show followed 4 kids who every night entered a surreal dream world, where they fought bad guys like the Pillow King and Sergeant Snort. It was part superhero fantasy, part PSA, and part fever dream. Midnight Patrol was actually a US rework of a British series called Potsworth & Company. Despite that, it still felt like it didn't quite know what it wanted to be. Too weird for the Saturday morning crowd, but not nearly smart or coherent enough for the older kids.
Oh, great. The dream zone is ruined. Earth is doomed, and it's all our fault.
It lasted 13 episodes in the US with little fanfare and even less merchandising. It aired on the Family Channel and in syndication, meaning many kids missed it entirely. It's one of those cartoons that feels like a dream you sort of remember. Weird, foggy, and a little unsettling. Number 4, Zazoo U.
Yeah,
You matter.
Me too.
You matter.
Even by early 90s standards, Zazoo U was weird. The short-lived Fox cartoon tried to blend education with absurdist humor.
Do we knock?
Nah, let's bravely go where no student has gone before.
Set in a surreal college populated by anthropomorphic animals, aliens, and offbeat faculty. Think Tiny Toons if it were written by someone on a sugar crash and airing way too early in the morning.
Janitor? Yes, you know, those quaint downgrade men with their names over the pocket? Ask them to clean up this mess immediatamente.
The show centered on a student named Grizzle, along with a cast of oddball classmates and teachers. They tackled topics like math, science, and geography, but through bizarre, nonsensical skits and songs that felt more like filler than actual learning.
I'm preparing special dish old country food. His beloved Papa's favorite, Sheki on a shingle.
Only 10 episodes were produced, and it quietly vanished after airing just a few times in 1990. Critics didn't get it, kids didn't stick around, and Fox had plenty of better options in the pipeline. Zazoo U is one of those what were they thinking shows. It clearly wanted to be zany and educational, but ended up being too chaotic for classrooms and too dull for kids looking for action or laughs. Today, it mostly lives on in YouTube uploads and weird cartoon listicles, which honestly might be the perfect legacy for it. Number 3, Widget the World Watcher. Before Captain Planet made saving the Earth cool, there was Widget the World Watcher, a purple alien with a mullet, who shape-shifted and taught kids about pollution, poaching, and how not to destroy the planet. The show was syndicated and ran for 2 seasons with 65 total episodes, which technically makes it the longest-running cartoon on the list. But despite its good intentions and occasional bursts of sci-fi fun, Widget never really quite became a household name.
Well, you see, there were a few complications.
It followed Widget, his alien sidekick Megabrain, and a group of human kids as they traveled the globe fighting villains who wanted to cut down rainforests or dump toxic waste into the oceans. It's a classic 90s cartoon bad guy stuff.
Oh my gosh! Look! It's the whalers! Come on!
The show had a clear environmental message which was admirable, but it often felt preachy and repetitive. And the animation was stiff even by early 90s standards. Still, it did manage to get a Daytime Emmy nomination for writing, which is more than most of these other flops can say. Ultimately, Widget tried to ride the wave of edutainment, but kids were far more interested in turtles with ninja skills than aliens with climate agendas. Number 2, The California Raisin Show. Remember those stop-motion raisins from the 80s that sang Motown songs? Well, someone at CBS thought they could carry a full-blown animated series into 1990. While technically released at the tail end of 1989, The California Raisin Show was based on the popular advertising mascots, who exploded into pop culture after singing I Heard It Through the Grapevine in claymation commercials. There were toys, which I did have, and albums, and even a primetime special, so naturally a Saturday morning cartoon was the next step. Only problem, they ditched the iconic stop motion for old-fashioned animation.
What you talking about, Bebop?
Instantly removing the one thing that made the Raisins visually interesting. The show followed the band on various misadventures in a kind of surreal, fruit-flavored world.
I dig.
All right, I am cool again.
Despite featuring solid music and voice talent, including Cree Summer and Brian Cummings, the show just didn't resonate with kids who had already moved on from the Raisins craze. CBS pulled the plug after just 13 episodes, and the California Raisins quietly rolled back into obscurity. Though you can still find some of the old merch at thrift stores and on eBay if you're feeling nostalgic. Number 1, Little Dracula. Okay, this one's a bit of a cheat. Little Dracula technically aired in 1991, but it was planned for 1990 and shelved for a bit, which is very on brand for a show about the undead. Little Dracula was based on a children's book series from the UK, and it followed a kid vampire trying to balance life at home with his weird monster family and his desire to hang out in the human world. Think the Addams Family meets Dennis the Menace, but with more bats and less charm.
Every night when the sun goes down, I fly down to the village and suck the blood of innocent villagers.
Oh no! My papa's a lawyer!
No, nothing that evil. I'm simply a vampire.
Fox Kids only aired 5 episodes before pulling it off the schedule almost immediately. In total, 13 episodes were produced, but most didn't air in the US until years later, Some even showed up on Fox's weekday afternoon block with zero promotion. It had a surprisingly high-quality cast with Jonathan Winters and Joe Flaherty. But even with that oddball pedigree, the tone was just too creepy for little kids and too childish for older ones. Ultimately, little Dracula vanished as quickly as it appeared, kind of like mist under a door. One thing's for sure, 1990 was a weird, wonderful year for animation. If you remember any of these shows or you actually watched them, I want to hear about it in the comments. Hit like if this scratched your nostalgia itch, and subscribe for more deep dives into pop culture's strange side. Until next time, keep your cereal crunchy and your animation block weird.